Hey, welcome to Keight Krafts. I'm Keight. Today I would like to share with you episode 2 of my birthday card series. Let's get started. To kick things off, I have gone ahead and die cut all the pieces that I will need from Fawn's Shutter Card die set. And next we are going to take some Distress Oxide and Squeezed Lemonade, and we are going to ink blend around the paper. Now this paper is from the Really Rainbow Scalloped set, 12 by 12 paper pack. This is not a pad, it's a pack. And I've gone ahead and cut all my pieces out of the various card colors. Now, I don't know what the names of them are off the top of my head, but I pretty much used most of the colors that I have here from that pack. And here I have some shaded lilac, and I'm just going to go around the edges and down the center of where I'm going to be folding. Now, this die is kind of neat because it gives you all of the score lines that you'll need to be measuring. You can kind of see the score lines where I'm going over with the shaded lilac, just to give you an idea of where things are going to be folded. And then on the inside, they've also got little embossed or debossed pieces on the insides of the folds of the card where you'll be able to put your little shutter pieces. Now, I by no means am very good at explaining how to put this together, so if you really need a thorough instruction video, my advice would be to go check out Fawn. So next up, to go over this red scalloped rainbow paper, we're going to go over it with some candy apple. Now, my candy apple, for some reason, is super juicy, so I really didn't need to pick up a whole lot from the ink pad itself. I mean, some of my Distress Oxide inks are drying up, and it's harder to blend with them, and then I have ones like this where they're just still very juicy. And, I mean, the humidity has been off and on here, but I don't know, it's weird. So here we have the Sapphire Blue in the Iridescent Fine Tec watercolor. This one eventually I will have to replace. I think you can get them individually. I'm not 100% sure, as I have not researched where I can get the little refill pans for each of these colors. I only have 4 sets of them. I don't know how many exactly there are, but I really like them. I mean, the color payoff from the watercolor, it's really pretty and really nice. And I mean, I've only ever used the pearlescent or the iridescent. I don't know what any other paints that they might have look like, but I really like these guys for splatter. So once I'm done with those guys, then I'll come back in and do the other side of the main card panel as well as the yellow bits, and we are going to use Amethyst in the Iridescent watercolor. And this one's really pretty too. I like the iridescent because it's subtle. It's not full-blown color right off the bat, but when you shift the paper it's on, do you really catch the iridescence of the color, and I love it. I love this set. I think this is probably my favorite Fine Tec watercolor set that I own. And the colors on it are just gorgeous. So next, after I've let all my pieces dry, I am going to start assembling things. Now, I realize that this card will be hard to stamp on once I've put everything together, so we are going to alleviate that issue right now by stamping on our little sentiment. So here I've got the reveal wheel sentiments that I'm going to be using, and it's just going to wish the recipient a happy birthday. Now, these ones, I think they're just hope your day is filled with happiness or something like that. I think that's what I put. I don't know, it's been a minute since I made this one. I made this one, I think, in the beginning to middle June, and I've been sitting on this video for a while, and then all of a sudden everybody else's birthday shows up, and yeah, that's how we got the birthday card series. Now, if you haven't watched the first one, I feature Yappy Birthday, the new Fawn set, and it explains a little bit more about what I'm doing here. I have got a lot of birthdays that come by in June and going into July, and I found that I had an overabundance of birthday card videos that needed to be edited, and this is what you're going to get. It's a birthday card series while everybody's doing Christmas in July. Now, granted, I do have some Christmas videos coming up mid to late July, I think. I can't remember the exact dates, so you'll have to stay tuned for that one because that one's a lot of fun as well. But if I remember correctly, I think I have about 5 videos that I have still to edit at the time of this recording. And I don't know, a lot of them I like how they turned out, so I was kind of wondering what I should do with all these videos, and I thought, well, why not make a series, because I haven't done that yet. I don't know, I never put much thought into doing a series because I've always been, make it on the fly, but when you've been making things on the fly and then all of a sudden you have an accumulation of one style of card, well, you might as well just run with it. So we're not going to do anything too fancy with the color. I'm just using the BB markers here to color our little cake in. This card was for my sister-in-law, and I know she likes the color purple, so I tried to base my colors around purple and what would go with purple. And I mean, I like purple too. Purple is one of my favorite colors, as well as black, even though black's not really a color, but, black and purple and red and, a really deep indigo blue. Yeah, I like a lot of colors. I like the bolder colors. I mean, pastel colors are really neat, but as far as, I like in-your-face colors. I mean, it's probably why I have purple and blue hair, because it's kind of in your face. I mean, I've considered dyeing my hair one color of a normal color, but I like the fun and funky colors. I've been dyeing my hair weird colors probably since I was 15, and yeah, I'm in my mid-40s. Not quite mid-40s, but early to mid-40s, so I'll probably be an old biddy in my 70s and 80s with still shocks of blue and purple and green in my hair. So, I would hope that I would still have enough hair left on the top of my head to dye, but we'll cross that bridge when it comes. So next here, I'm just trying to figure out what side the little notches are that I mentioned to before, and I realize that they're at the top of this card here. So if you give me a second, we are going to do a little fandangling. So we're going to take my score tool and we are going to really give those edges a crease to make sure that I get a good fold and everybody lines up. I love how this paper lines up when you close it like that. I think it's so cool. So next we're going to fold down the little tabs on the top, and that's going to act as kind of like our anchor to our floating piece, if that makes sense. So again, I will go over the edges with my bone folder and make sure everything is nice and stuck down there. Well, not stuck, but you know what I mean. So next we're going to take these little panels that come in the die set that I've cut and ink blended on, and we're just going to take some tape runner, nothing too fancy, and we are going to tape those down to the front, which is nice because I don't know if you saw it or not, but when I was using the candied apple, I was a little perplexed on how come it was so dark in the center, and when I touched it I realized how juicy the ink pad was, and it was like, oh. And I thought I'd wiped my fingers off correctly, but apparently I didn't, and I'd got a nice pretty red finger smudge all over my project, but thankfully that little yellow piece covered it up. So next we are taking our little flag banner things here, and we're going to add some adhesive to where I folded it over, and then we're going to add some glue because this is a working piece and I want to make sure that this has enough stick and hold because it's going to be played with. I know it's going to be played with. I mean, I must have played with it like 20 million times before I even got it into an envelope, let alone a stamp and in the mailbox. So we're going to repeat the process on the other side with some glue and some tape runner. And I'm going to look for those little score pieces on there to make sure that I'm lining everybody up neatly, and then I'll just fold over that fold. And then one goes on top, 1 point goes on top, 1 point goes on the bottom, and then vice versa. So you get like a yin and a yang. But again, I'm doing this card no justice by trying to explain it to you. Really, if you really need to know and you've never put one of these together, go check out Fawn, because yeah, this is a really involved card for me. So I'm just taking my 1/8 of an inch score tape and adding some tape to the bottom fold here, and then I'm going to add some glue, because again, I like to double stick everything. That's just how I roll, if you know what I mean. So here we are going to make sure that everybody gets stuck down and there's still some moving parts. Then we're going to take the little birthday cake that we colored, and we are going to try our best to fit it underneath the yellow panel. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold that one down with my fingers and then just freehand it. And then I found that I don't really like how off-center it is, but because we used that glue and didn't press down too hard, I'm able to add a little bit more glue and line everybody up once again and hope for the best this time, because yeah. So once that's on there, and I can go ahead and take some double-sided tape and use that to tape that to the top bit, so that way we can have our little floating piece of yellow on top, and that'll give kind of like a little shield to cover the actual moving mechanism and hold everything down in place. So the little moving mechanism isn't glued down, so to speak. I mean, it is on the edges, but you don't want any glue happening on the inside of that. So if you do the glue, then you might screw up the mechanism. So I had already done the little belly band for this, but somehow I ended up messing that one up too. So I ended up cutting out another piece. Now, I didn't have to ink blend on this one, I don't think, because it's just the little belly band, and I was going to be adding in a stamped image to the front anyway. So that's what we're doing here. So I'm just cutting out some double-sided tape, and this is going to fold over, and then I'll be able to adhere it to the next piece. So that's all I'm doing here. And then I'm able to fold, and then we'll fold again, and then that way that seam will come up into the front, and that way it won't get caught on any corners. If it was on the outside corners, it might be a problem, but I think the way this works out, it works out nice. Now, don't quote me on that, I could be wrong. So I'm going to line everything up and make sure everything is stuck down, but not stuck to the actual paper, and then we're going to take I think this was an outside-in stitched die, or maybe it was the die that came with the More Magic Message set, I can't remember. But I've cut out this little white circle, and I've used some low-tack tape to hold it down. Then I've just taken this brand new set and just kind of rubbed it on my hand to remove any extras. And now I'm just going to take my Lawn Fawn ink, and we're going to stamp this up quite a few times, because this is a new stamp, and I want to make sure that I get a good impression on this. So once I'm happy with that, I will go ahead and bring in some of this BB000, and then I realize that not really keen on it. I mean, it doesn't pop with the rainbow. Now this says sending rainbow and sunshine, so I decided that I'm going to go with the red to kind of tie into the red on the outside of the card. And I think this worked out quite nice. So very carefully, I'm just using the tip of my Copic marker here. I believe that was a 35, an R35. Could be wrong. I don't know, my screen's kind of small here, and I don't have my glasses on. So here we are just going to map out with a pencil where I need to put the adhesive, and we're going to run with that. So again, we'll add double the glue to make sure that there's no edges that are going to be caught on anything, and that it sticks to the paper where it needs to be stuck. And then we're going to glue that on. So once I've got that down, then I can go ahead and slip that onto my card, and my card is complete. So here you have my finished card with the belly band on, and when you open it up, this is what you see, and then when you open it up completely, this is what the card looks like inside. So I hope you enjoyed today's program, and keep an eye out for episode 3 of the birthday card series. And as always, thanks for hanging out with me today. Take care.